Hi, and welcome back again to DevOps Easy Learning. And in today's episode, we will be going or doing a deep dive into AWS EC2 security groups. AWS built-in firewalls for your EC2 instances. We'll cover how they work, the differences between inbound and outbound rules, and how you can set up a secure environment that follows best practices. As you can see here, every EC2 instance is attached to a security group. And in the security group, we have basically an inbound or ingress rule as well as an outbound or egress rule. Inbound basically means what comes into your AWS EC2 instance, and outbound is how your EC2 instance actually breathe or reaches out back into the internet. Now, there are some AWS documentations that can help you, understand security group in details. Like a security group controls the traffic that is allowed to reach and leave the resources that it is associated with. We will be running some demos here to see how we can create resource security groups and attach it to an EC2 instance. And the beautiful thing about it is that you can attach more than one security group to an EC2 instance. So you can have a security group one set up for just HTTP protocol. You can have another one set up for ICMP, or you can have another one set up just for RDS protocol. But that doesn't mean that you cannot have all these protocols all in one security group. So it kind of makes things a little bit neat. And the good thing about it, like it says here, pricing, there is no additional charge for using security groups. So go ahead, create as much as you want in your account. Don't worry, AWS is not going to charge you for it. Now, there's some very good information down here that I would like you guys to take a look at and understand. So please make use of this documentation. It's under the Amazon Virtual Private Cloud, and you can see under there we have this tab that said security. Now, there's also some more here in the AWS documentation that you can also use. Security pillar AWS well architectural framework. It is always very important, that security should be the first and most important factors when preparing and planning a well architectured framework. So while you were looking for this document, let me go ahead and explain a little bit more about what the AWS security group is. And like I said, it is what is called a security group. It is a firewall. So it is attached to the EC2 instance and it controls, like I said, inbound and outbound traffic at the instance level. Now, note here that we do have another type of firewall that is also attached to the subnet level of your EC2 instance, but these security groups are at the instance level. These are directly associated to your EC2 instance and they are stateful. When we say stateful, what we mean by that is that if inbound traffic is allowed, the response is automatically allowed back out. So there is no need for you to allow both ways. So in other words, if you allow HTTP inbound, you don't need to go into your outbound security group rule and set HTTP again. So once the inbound is set, the outbound respects that. So you can reuse security group across instances. And that is, you can also be able to update them instantly when modified. So the moment you make changes to a security group, the effect applies immediately to your EC2 instance. Now, imagine you're in a hosting party and a security guard at the door checks who is allowed in. Now, that security guard that checks who is allowed into that party is an inbound rule. And once everyone is inside, they are free to talk or go out. And that's how the outbound rule comes into play. Now, looking at this diagram, I hope it kind of gives you guys some more view of how this security group plays a very important role at the EC2 level. Remember, I told you that the security group is at the instance level. There's actually another one that is the security group actually connects to or listens to, and that is called the network ACL. So when we go into networking, a VPC and networking, we are going to take a look into network ACL, but this network ACL is usually set up at the subnet level. But for this particular video, we will only be looking at the security group at the instance level. And as you can see here, you can attach security group to an instance, another one to another instance, and both of them you can attach this same security group to the same network ACL. So basically, just saying that one security group or more than one security group can all be associated with a network ACL, access control list. Now let's go on to the AWS console, because most of this video we're doing is just to see how we can actually practicalize some of these concepts that we are learning here. So now there are two ways you can get to your security group. Now you can either find a security group under the EC2 services right here, or when you go to the VPC, let me open this in a new tab, and you scroll down, you will see security right here under here. So it's the same. So this security is the same security group that you see under the EC2 dashboard. No difference. So it's either you go through the VPC or services, or you go through the EC2 services. Now let's see how we create security groups. It's as simple as this. You click create security group, and let's give it a name. And I'm going to name this one web server SG, because I'm planning to use this security group to show you guys how it works with a web server. It's going to be attached to a VPC. And for the inbound rule, we are going to set this inbound rule to the HTTP protocol for these test purposes, HTTP, and it's going to be anywhere. And now, talking about this, since we're in security group, I want you guys to understand that this means anyone, any source whatsoever that is trying to get to your servers, your applications, irrespective of the IP address they have, they will be granted HTTP access to your server. So this is where you want to be careful. For instance, I can decide to choose my IP, which means I am the only one from my router, my home router, that can access that EC2. If I don't want to do that, I can go here and decide to, just say 10.0.0.0/8. So it will only allow traffic within this CIDR range. So this is how you lock down a security group and restrict it to just certain people that you want to have access to your applications or servers. So for these test purposes, we're just going to leave it anywhere for you. And remember, we said it is stateful. So whatever you allow inbound rule automatically comes into play in the outbound rule. And usually most security groups, when you're creating them for the first time, they usually have no security group rule set up in the inbound rule. You have to actually set it up. AWS provides you a zero trust security firewall, where AWS says we will lock down your architectural framework with no access whatsoever. You are the one that decides what comes in. So this one is always left empty. You open this up. But for the outbound is always having an all traffic allowed. So basically saying, even though you're locking your environment from external traffic, you want to be able to allow your applications internally to actually reach out into the internet. So usually I say you want to allow your application to be able to breathe. So from time to time, you want to do some patching, and you want to be able to allow your applications to reach out into the public internet and pull information down. Now, that is all we need to do. It's basically as simple as that. We're going to click create security group right here. And it wants us to put a description. It's going to say, this is for testing web server. And then I would click create security group. And that is it. My security group is created. As you see, it has a name with security group ID, with a name, whatever details you want to see. it's still okay. It says it's still creating security group rule, creating inbound rule, but that's fine. I believe it's already set up. As you can see, it says one inbound rule because we only open HTTP, and the owner is this AWS account. The name is web server SG, and this is the description we just added, and it's associated with this VPC. Now, if I go back here to, if I come down here, you can see how you can do it. And if you want to change it, just click edit. When you click this, it will bring you to this page and you can add more protocols as much as you want in here. Now, let's go back and see on this same part on the outbound rules, it shows us what we have on the outbound. The protocol is type is all traffic, all protocols, all port range, and destination is everywhere. Now we have created our security group. If I go back to look at the bigger picture, and you can see that our security group is the one we created right here. This one, I'm going to just give it a name, and I'll name it Web Server SG. This is for easy identification. And now that I've named it, let's apply this security group to an EC2 instance. Now, if you look right here in the last class, we did create an EC2 instance with a web server attached to it. So if I click this now and I say take this and I go into my browser and I pump it right here, I would see this showing. But I want to show you guys that we can attach security group. And how do you know what security group is associated with your EC2 instance? When you select that EC2 instance, go to security, you click that and scroll down and it will show you the security group that is attached to that EC2 instance. Now, let's say you want to attach another security group to this EC2 instance. It's simple as selecting it, go to action, and you go to security, and you click change security groups, and you come here, it gives you this page where it says, do you have a security group right here? Do you want to attach? I said, yes, this is the one that I would like to attach to my EC2 instance. I click this, select that, and click add. And as you can see, it is showing me down here at the bottom that the new security group has been added. I'm going to click save and give it a few seconds, refresh this page. And if we go back to security again, you will see right here that we now have two security groups attached to our EC2 instance. So we are going to remove this security group and test with just one, this one right here. So I'm going to go back to action and security group. And now I can remove the one I don't want, which is this one at the bottom here. Click remove, click save, and go back, refresh the page, go back to security, scroll down, and we can see we have just one security group. And as you can see down here at the bottom, it tells us what we have. So let's see if this security group is actually working, because we open it port 80 HTTP protocol. So let's see if we can actually use this to see our web server. So go to details, take the public IP and open it up in a browser, paste, and there it is. Now, let's see if for some reason we decide not to allow HTTP protocol on this. So we can actually edit that security group and remove that protocol in there. And when we remove it, we say practically we're revoking the inbound rule. And when we refresh this server, you will see that we will not be able to see this page anymore. So let me go back into the security group and click to security and open the security group in a new tab and click edit. And now I'm going to remove the HTTP and save the rules. Now I have no inbound rule. So if I go back here to that server and I refresh, it will be blocked. It's still loading. This is going to waste the time. So without wasting much time, I'm just going to open a new browser with this same IP address, and you'll see that we won't be able to access that web server. So click here and enter. and it's going to keep loading and loading and loading until we'll get the page that says cannot connect to resource or web page. So guys, that is how your firewall EC2 instance works. So yeah, just to add some few best practices you should always follow when setting up your EC2 instance. Now, remember, it is what protects your resources in your AWS account. So never leave ports open to 0.0.0.0.0 unless absolutely necessary or for just demo or test purposes. Always practice least privileges. So in other words, only allow ports that you need in your security group. If you don't need a port open, don't open it. It's a security risk. We use security groups for similar workloads. In other words, if you create a security group that works perfectly, you don't need to create a new security group. That same security group can be attached to another EC2 instance and another EC2 instance, so you can use one security group for multiple servers. So this way, you're able to manage all your servers from one security group. So use different groups for web server. So in other words, if you are going to be creating a security group, make sure you create a security group that is for a web server with one protocol setup, then create another one for another protocol and like database, and create another one for internal traffic. So that way you kind of isolate and keep each security group away so that you can easily assign them to resources that you need. So always tag your security groups for easy tracking. And this is what I did right here. It was easy for me to be able to figure out what security group I just created. So always tag them. Now, this is some of the information that I want to give you guys on security group. In this video, you guys have seen how EC2 security groups control access to your EC2 instance. It's the first line of your defense in the cloud. So you've learned how to allow or block ports and how to test your setup in real time. In the next episode, we will explore the differences between elastic IPs versus public IPs, and when and why to use them. So don't forget to hit that button if this was helpful. Subscribe to our channel for more DevOps Easy Learning videos, and let's keep building in the cloud. And with that, I want to say thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you guys all in the next class. Thank you.